What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching the SEC Football Channel. I just wanted to give you guys some information about the Arkansas Razorbacks, what's been going on this spring with Arkansas as we continue to try to cover as many of the SEC teams as possible and just give you any news and notes that we can find out there. So let's talk about Arkansas, and in a little bit of a surprise, it's the defense that's been leading the way this spring for the Razorbacks. If you've watched my videos, and especially my top 10 video, I really talked about how this defense has a lot of really good players, and I really thought this defense had a chance to be pretty good this year, and that has been the case so far this spring. You think about Chad Morris, you think about the offensive mind that he has, and some of the talent that they've started to put together here on that side of the ball, and you think Arkansas might be a team that scores a lot of points, maybe gives up a lot of points, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think their defense is going to be right up there, middle of the pack, maybe even that, not the elite of the SEC, but maybe that next tier. And offensively, I think they still have a little bit of work to do. I think they'll be better this year, but I don't think they're going to be, you know, an elite offense either. And again, I've talked about this Arkansas team and said how I think they're going to have a big turnaround in 2018. Before we get into some of the notes from the spring, they did have a couple of players announce that they're transferring away from Arkansas. Cortre Alexander, a defensive end, and then a walk-on, Thomas Muldrow. Those two guys are transferring away from Arkansas. They brought in a transfer kicker from UTSA. I think he's not expected to play this year. He's a younger guy that they may use as a kicker in the future, so he could be their future at kicker. I lost his name, but he does come from UTSA. So I just wanted to get that out of the way quickly. Again, some transfer news there for the Razorbacks. So let's talk about what's been going on this spring for Arkansas. We're going to start with that defense. They had a scrimmage on Saturday. The defense won the scrimmage. They have a championship belt that they award to the winner, either the offense or the defense. They've had 3 scrimmages. The defense has won it 2 times. The other time was a draw. So again, the defense has definitely gotten the best of the offense, but they've had a lot of injuries, especially their running backs. They haven't had most of those guys in there, so they're not playing with a full slate of running backs, and there are really injuries across the board here for Arkansas this spring. Nothing too serious. I don't think it's going to be anything that lingers into the season, but you've got to be cautious. And again, they're holding some guys out this spring, and so you're not getting the full team, the full roster here. But again, defensively, that's what won the day. They made a lot of plays in the backfield. I had a lot of negative yardage plays in this last spring. That's why the defense won. On the bright side for the offense, they had no turnovers. That's something that Chad Morris was definitely happy about. No turnovers, but it was, again, those plays in the backfield, those negative plays that were being caused by this Arkansas defense. That's why they won the day. And again, you talk about this Arkansas defense, it's really at all 3 levels. You've got Dejon Harris at linebacker, one of the top linebackers in the SEC. McTelvin Agim on the defensive line, one of the top defensive linemen in the SEC, and then Cameron Curl at safety. So they've got talent at all 3 levels. They've got some other guys that are going to be pretty solid for them on defense as well. But I've actually read some things about Agim that he's basically just a man among boys out there, a guy that could have went to the NFL probably, but decided to come back. I think he's going to have a monster year for the Razorbacks. So again, defense, impressive. You look at the offense, Ben Hicks has definitely been impressive. Chad Morris has talked about his command of the offense and coming in there as a leader right away. He's done everything they've expected of him. And, of course, he goes back to his SMU days with Chad Morris, had a lot of success. That's why I predicted he would be the starter from day one. Even with Nick Starkel coming, I think Ben Hicks will be the starter for Arkansas. I feel pretty confident in saying that. I think Starkel maybe is waiting for his time in 2020. Ben Hicks, a graduate transfer, so this will be his final season. But yes, he's been impressive. Again, we haven't really seen the running backs. Also, true freshman Trey Knox, an early enrollee, has impressed the coaches at the wide receiver position. Look for him to potentially be a go-to guy for this Arkansas offense. And again, if Chad Morris can get it together, if Ben Hicks can kind of duplicate what he was able to do at SMU at the quarterback position, Arkansas has a chance to be pretty solid on offense. I think their defense is going to be pretty good. And again, this is a team that I think improves a lot this year, a team that I think can get to a bowl game, and I think they're going to have a very solid year in 2019. I don't think they're a team that's going to just get blown out by anyone. We saw last year they were competitive with Texas A&M. There were a couple other games where they were competitive. There were some games where they really just weren't competitive, but I think they'll be competitive with pretty much everyone in the SEC. Maybe they pull off an upset or two. And I think Arkansas, again, has a very, very good year in 2019, at least compared to where they were in 2018. And so far, everything seems to line up with what we've seen this spring. I'd love to get your thoughts, especially from the Arkansas fans. What have you seen out of this team this spring? What are you expecting? Well, let me know down in the comments below. And thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports SEC Football Channel.